It is so funny to have an episode following a turning point where it just feels like, okay, that was a lot more chill. Like a lot happened in episode 22, but it just feels like every time you follow a turning point, it's just like, how can you one-up that? And I don't want it to one-up that because technically if they do like turning points every single episode, I'm just going to get crushed. But even still, very emotional episode, kind of just a turning point in itself. Really, honestly, just a lot of things shifting with this episode. It really has me kind of wondering at this point how we can end the season off with the next episode technically being the finale for this part. Opening up this episode, we have Rudy essentially having nightmares about Orsted, kind of giving us a sense of a PTSD that Rudy now has that I'm curious will continue on throughout the series, as he's having now nightmares, seeing his entire family, everybody around him, all of his friends, and yet having that looming threat of the Dragon God coming to him and destroying everything that he has, which I think is a great characterization, having such a... he literally died. He literally died, and so I don't really expect him to just kind of bounce back and always forget that it's ever happened. So again, like I said, I'm curious if this will be something that'll stick with him for quite a while, because this, in a sense, besides him getting hit by a truck, is a sense of something always looming around the corner that could possibly kill him. Following this, the scene we have is Rajerd essentially asking him if everything's okay because obviously he just had a nightmare. And surprisingly, having Rudy kind of divulge everything to Rajerd exactly what happened. The man god, Laplace, the curse, the spears, all that kind of stuff wrapping up Rajerd into the whole entire situation, as well as revealing to him that the man god at least believes that the curse surrounding Rajerd and the Superds is fading away. That since he cut his hair and everything, that curse of fear is now leaving, and this is obviously a great thing to Rajerd. I thought it was cute that Rudy actually takes the moment to kind of go, oh, I guess I gotta go back to sleep, because he knows that Rajerd is full of emotion right now, and that he's tearful and that he obviously wouldn't want him to see him. Following this scene, we have them return back to Rudy's home. We obviously see that everything is destroyed. It was really cool to kind of get a little sense of these memories that Rudy sees as he walks in, sparring with his father, training with Roxy, being welcomed home by his mother, and then finally this little moment with Sylphie as he walks towards this tree. And this is sad because I really kind of foreseen this coming eventually, but I really didn't want it to happen at this point. I mean, we've been with Rajerd since, for like 12 episodes now, maybe more. So it really does suck to kind of finally see him leave. Obviously, Rajerd has delivered on his promise to get them home, and now that they're home, he's kind of separating with them. But I think it's also a really cool moment because combining this whole conversation that Rudy had with Rajerd about the Super's curse kind of waning, all the things that Rudy has done for him, despite the fact that Rudy doesn't want to accept that praise from Rajerd, Rajerd obviously acknowledges that everything that's played out, even if Rudy believes that it's because of the man god told him to, Rudy did it. He's like, the man god didn't come here and do this. You did it. So obviously all these efforts that Rudy has done has improved Rajerd and changed him as a person. Getting all these moments where we see these points that they've conflicted or worked together or had bonds created between the two of them has finally come to an end. But yes, Rajerd kind of acknowledges they no longer need a babysitter and that he's parting ways with them. Kind of has a little moment with Eris as well, telling her that, you know, you've become strong, you're going to be able to surpass me. And even though she doesn't want to accept it, he's like, you do realize that you fought against somebody that is deemed as a god, right? Somebody that is god rank, you have fought against it and seen its techniques. That means something. And we have this little sweet moment where he wants to treat them like children one more time to pat their head. Rajerd offers to give back Roxy's necklace, but he's like, no, it's precious, but that's why I want you to keep it. And this is a great moment because as Rajerd is leaving, we have this point in which Rudy doesn't know how to speak. Like he has all these things that he wants to say, but he doesn't know how to get out the words. After saying goodbye to Rajerd, both Eris and Rudy end up heading into this camp where we finally see, just out of nowhere, boom, there's Ghislaine. I was kind of noting the moment that they walked into this camp, and there's still obviously people that are suffering. And I mean, obviously this has been some time. It has been some time since the man disaster. I mean, we're talking years. And yet there's still people here suffering. There's still people dying. There's people mourning. This isn't a sanitary place to leave. They're living in tents. And my immediate thought goes to, wow, looks like this Darius guy that took over from Sauros isn't really doing a very good job, is he? But yeah, just out of random, they just like glance over and boom, there's Ghislaine. It's like, okay, there's Ghislaine. Apparently Ghislaine's here, so we can scratch off that one for the missing list. But yeah, obviously Eris is happy to see him. Also, Alphonse is there as well. And yeah, despite Alphonse being like, you know, look, we need updates you, Eris, on what's happening, tells Rudy to leave, and she's like, no, heck no, Rudy's coming with me. But yeah, this is when we get quite an insight into, I guess, exactly how things have been going since they've been gone, as Alphonse pretty much spills the beans on everything that's happening so far. And this really does suck because we get a glimpse that certain things have transpired that we have not gotten to see. The off-camera issues that we never get to kind of see how it happened, but yet we're supposed to accept it, which is similar to what obviously Eris is going through. But yeah, we find out that both Philip and Hilda are both dead. Apparently they were transported to an area that was disputed, and that's where they passed away. Again, we don't really get an idea of exactly what happened. Was it in a disputed area where they were just executed because it's the disputed area? Obviously, they're not warriors, so they, along with many other people that were transported, aren't going to fare very well. But despite that, really did suck hearing about that. I really did like Philip. Now, granted, I liked him because he was kind of a little bit mischievous, but at the same time, they were kind of unraveling something very difficult with his story when he spoke to Rudy alone during the party. Whereas Hilda is kind of that element of being, she had heart underneath there, and she's gone through a lot of really difficult things because of what they've done to her children. So yeah, it kind of sucks, but again, that's kind of the element of there's going to be losses that aren't going to be explained, unfortunately. And I guess the thing to kind of solidify it is the fact that he says that Ghislaine had confirmed their death. And obviously the one that we know about was Soros. Soros was executed because of what happened with the Manizaster. He was put to blame for it. Even though Rudy's upset about this, he's like, that's just that's the state of the Asura Kingdom. So this is just how things play out. But this is where things kind of get a little more difficult to deal with. As Eris is telling Rudy, calm down, I kind of expected these things to happen. This is when Alphonse starts playing out what he sort of thinks needs to happen going forward. He tells Eris that, look, Lord Paimon, Notos Grey Rat, is wanting to take her in as his concubine. Now, this is the difficult thing because the only thing that we know about the Notos family was that they mentioned that Paul is a part of the Notos family branch of the Grey Rats, and that his brother is more of a scum than Paul. So I'm assuming at this point was the more scummier than Paul, they were talking about Paimon. And obviously, as we see with Ghislaine, she doesn't like him either, so we've established that Paimon is not a good person. He's scummier than Paul. That's a huge feat in itself. But Ghislaine, in her outrage, is pointing out the fact that this is not a good thing because he's a scum, and that this is all a power move, essentially. That he's using Eris as like a sacrifice for the people. Which he kind of accepts, like, yeah, I'm doing this because of the people, the region, and the Grey Rat family. Like, this is a move to preserve the Grey Rat family. And yes, the sad thing about that is Eris is a sacrifice for it. Which this is where I start to get into my predictions, like trying to figure out exactly what they're implying here. Because obviously when Soros was executed, they stated that Darius would be taking over Fetoa. So as Soros left, Darius took over. Now again, I don't know who Darius is. I only know him by his name and a brief shot of him. I don't even know if Darius is a part of the Grey Rat family or anything. And I don't need to know, so anybody in the comments, don't worry about it. But we already knew that there was established a power struggle that was happening within the Grey Rat family. And obviously Philip Boreas Grey Rat, his brother, was the one that won. So I'm curious if this is implying that Paul's family, of the Notos Grey Rat family, his brother Paimon might be looking to, I guess, make a power move right now as everything kind of unfolded. Because at this point, we don't even know what happened to Philip's brother, if he's still there or not. Which I guess this makes for one of those difficult things about the story, as we don't really get a clear idea of like names and who's working where, which I don't think is a problem because it's a background thing. It's a background struggle that I'm at this point pretty certain is going to be a thing eventually. I mean, technically we just had him bed Eris. Anyways, we'll get to that eventually. But obviously the choice is Eris alone, so Eris tells him to leave and that she's going to think on it, which just cuts to Rudy going to this big message board, which has all the names of everybody that's missing and dead. Ghislaine's obviously marking off both Rudy and Eris as they're now, accounted for. And Rudy confirms the fact that his mother and everybody's still missing, and then he notes where's Sylphie. Sylphie is scratched out of the missing list. Well, she's not on the dead list, so it implies that she's been found and she's alive. Which just makes me believe that probably in the next episode we'll have him meet Sylphie again. I'm kind of thinking that's where my mind's going right now. But yeah, this is where we get to the scene in which I'm thinking is probably going to cause a little bit of an outrage online. I don't know, I think we're just far enough in this show at this point that I think most people are going to be outraged by this stuff, is already done left the series, but who knows? We'll probably have some outrage on the internet over this, but yes, Eris meets Rudy at night, and I knew where this was going at that point. But it seems like an interesting move because all this time we keep getting the sense that Eris always brushes everything off as this is expected. I'm expecting this. I'm ready for this. I'm always ready for things. Obviously, it still doesn't keep her from being emotional. She showed that when she told everybody to leave, she started crying. And obviously right here, she's feeling vulnerable as well, as she comes in and starts offering herself up to Rudy. And it sucks because it obviously has Rudy note the idea that this is be taking advantage of her. She's offering herself up to him because she obviously feels alone at this point. She just found out that she has no family. She just lost Rajerd. Her next steps are completely up in the air as to what she's going to do. And so she feels like, well, it's my 15th birthday. I want a gift. Give me a family. Which, again, Rudy really does fight himself. And I don't expect it. Don't get me wrong. I do like the fact that Rudy does reject her. Like, he does not want to do this because he obviously sees that this would be taken advantage. And I think if you asked Rudy's, many years ago when he first reincarnated, if you asked him what he would do at that point, he would probably say, yeah, heck yeah, I'd jump right in bed with her. This shows how much Rudy has grown. He sees her as a person, that somebody that he cares for, and he doesn't want to hurt her. He doesn't want to take advantage of her. I think this was a great building point for him as a character. Acknowledging what she's going through, acknowledging the loss, acknowledging the emptiness that she probably feels right now, and he chooses to ignore it. It wasn't until literally she keeps relentlessly pushing before he finally concedes. Again, you can argue that he still did it in the end, but he did fight back, and it wasn't until she kept pushing herself on him that he chose to finally accept it. My mom taught me one phrase, and I'm only going to say this once. Give me kittens, meow. Oh, that was a great phrase. Oh, rest in peace, Hilda. Rest in peace, Hilda. That sucks. Oh, rest in peace, Hilda. But yeah, it doesn't show it, which I think is probably going to make some... It's so funny. I think this episode's going to upset two different people. One's going to upset... Because I don't know how much the light novel gets into, but it's going to upset those that don't want this to happen. It's going to upset those that realize this happened, but they didn't show anything. I didn't expect them to show anything. She's technically a 15-year-old, and they're not going to have it in an animation, but yeah. And here's the upsetting part. Man, we'll put aside everything with Eris and them actually sleeping together. It's, like I said, it technically completely 100% implies that they did it. It opens up the next scene where he wakes up. He's super happy. He's like, yes, I've joined the ranks of people that have given away their virginity, basically. He's super proud of it. Now, joining the ranks of those with couples and stuff, no longer an outsider, and then realizing that Eris is gone, and she cut her hair. Dang it. I hate these stories and cutting hair. Why does symbolism of discarding one's past life always have to be let's cut hair? Ugh. I don't even want to... I hate to say this, and I know all the Eris fans out there are going to hate me saying this, but I don't want to see Eris until it's back. Like, I don't even want to see short hair Eris. I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine, but yeah. But yeah, she leaves a letter saying that the two of them are not a match right now, and that she is gone away, and that we find out that she is left with a journey with Ghislaine, which does imply that she's not choosing to go be with Paimon, which I guess is a good thing. She's probably choosing to go with Ghislaine to become stronger. And I think it's a struggle for me because I don't know if it's implying that Eris believes that there's a mismatch between the two of them. Maybe that she feels like she's not mature enough, or that he's not mature enough, or if it's just more of a culmination of everything that's happened over the last 2 episodes for us. She wasn't strong enough to protect Rudy. That obviously is weighing on her. When they were traveling, Rudy was trying to, mimic his counterspelling to stop spells. And his statement was, for the moment that we run into Orsted again, I want to be prepared. And she immediately looked distraught. She doesn't like that she wasn't able to do enough. She fought her hardest, but she was nowhere near. So I think this might be a thing of Eris feeling like she needs to become stronger. Obviously, the last time that we seen Rudy fight Eris, he won, and that upset her. Despite all that she'd gained, she still lost. So I think this is a journey of strength. I think Eris wants to become stronger. I'm assuming she wants to prove herself to Rudy. And I think journeying with Ghislaine is that motive to do that, which is surprising to me because I felt like Eris would want to stay with Rudy, but I feel like she feels like she's not enough. I don't know. That decision for her to leave him after all of this really does bug me, but at the same time, I think that was probably a decision she made with Gisling. Gisling obviously doesn't want her to be with Bailon. But at any rate, that kind of leaves us with Rudy alone, crying alone. He's obviously lost everybody at this point. He doesn't know where his mother is. Paul's off looking for people. He doesn't know where Sylphie is. He's lost everything at this point. He's alone. And this is the first time I think we've had him alone really since his birth. He's always been with his family when he was growing up. The mana disaster happened. He's been with Eris and Rajur that whole time. And now this is the first time he's been alone since his reincarnation. And I think that's an interesting point to really point out. I'm curious if that will be something that we'll get into with the next episode, him finally being alone. He has nothing right now. He is his old self, his old neat self, locked up in his room. And I think the only thing my predictions for the next episode is going to be, I think the thing that's going to pull him out of that is Sylphie. Sylphie is been found, so she was taken off the list. So it's obviously she's nearby and she's alive because she's not on the dead list. So I think next episode he's going to run into Sylphie. We'll probably have that reunion happen. And I thought after that point, what they would get into is he's going to go to the academy, but he doesn't have any money. So my idea though is like, okay, he's going to meet Sylphie and then he's going to go to the academy. And it's like, well, but he doesn't have any money. He never got that money from the family, the Grey Rat family. But I don't know, maybe somebody will pop up and throw some money at him out of nowhere and say, yeah, go on to the academy. It's really curious. Like I said, we technically only have one episode left, and so I'm really curious as to if this can leave at a solid point. That's my only I'm happy because we know that we will get more. They're going to continue to adapt this. We don't know when the next season's going to be coming, but we know it's coming, and I just hope we don't leave on a really tough point. And I think how they're going to leave this last episode is, like I said, he's going to be in that rut. He's going to be back into his old neat self. He's alone, he's isolated, and he's realizing that he's lost everything that was around him for a long time. Like I said, his entire existence in this reincarnation has been with people, whereas before he was with nobody. And so he's going to be back in that rut. And I think, like I said, I think Sylphie's going to come in, pull him out of that. They're going to have this great little moment together before kind of establishing probably where they're going to be going next, which I think, like I said, would be the academy if he had money, but he doesn't necessarily have money unless he comes across money somehow. My huge hope would be that Zenith pops up out of nowhere and says, oh yeah, we have this money that was stashed away. Take it and go train while we fix everything here. But who knows? Maybe the man god will tell him some secret that'll get him across a lot of money. We'll see, but hope you guys enjoyed my impressions of this episode. I think I was all over the place talking about this episode, but it was good stuff. I'm looking forward to the next episode. Super excited, even though I'm dreading this show kind of going away for a while. It's going to hurt, but yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like down below, comment, let me know what's all the episodes. Subscribe if you haven't already. Share this video if you can. Support us on Patreon if you can. We definitely appreciate everybody that does. And y'all take care.